Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to when you've got a stack of sources, you want the key takeaways, those surprising facts, and maybe just enough humor to keep it interesting.
That's the plan.
So today, we are diving into, well, one of those big life moments, right? That feeling, that threshold, maybe right after graduation or hitting some other huge milestone.
Yeah, that mix of feeling great, accomplishment, but also maybe a bit daunting.
Exactly. It's sweet, that feeling of triumph. But one of the voices in our source today puts it pretty bluntly, says you're leaping into an unruly, vulgar mass of competition, political intrigue, backstabbing, and street-level hustle.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that quote really cuts through the celebratory haze, doesn't it? It's from a commencement speech in The World is Waiting for You, and it captures that tension perfectly.
It really does. You've got this personal high, this success, and then bam, you're face-to-face with the messy competitive reality out there.
It's a paradox. The peak moment meets the complex world.
So this deep dive, it isn't just about patting you on the back saying, well done. It's more about equipping you, giving you some timeless wisdom to actually navigate what comes next, to thrive, really.
And we've pulled together quite a stack. We've got ancient philosophers sitting alongside modern motivators, visionaries, and yeah, some really powerful graduation speeches too.
Our mission, essentially, is to explore what it means to live a life that has purpose, that has influence, and hopefully some real impact.
Precisely. We're kind of charting a course through three big areas. First, the inner stuff. Like, how do you define success for yourself, moving past the usual metrics?
Yeah, beyond just the job title or the salary.
Right. Then second, we'll get into the art of connecting with people. Persuasion, influence those skills you need for, well, everything.
Absolutely fundamental.
And third, maybe the most crucial part is embracing that bigger picture, that social duty.
Yep.
Stepping up, because honestly, the world needs your contribution, needs your perspective.
Okay, so get ready. We're going to challenge some assumptions, maybe uncover a few surprising things, and definitely give you some actionable ideas, stuff to help you shift from being, a student of the world to someone actually shaping it.
It's about what you do now, what you build with what you've learned.
Let's jump in. All right, section 1. That big question. How do you actually figure out your path after something like graduation? When everything feels possible, but also maybe a bit blank. It starts with what we're calling the inner compass.
And right at the heart of that is defining success. But not just any definition. We need to talk about personal success. What does it mean to you?
Because the default definition, the one society often hands us, is pretty narrow, isn't it? Career, money, lifestyle, stuff like that.
It often is. But Earl Nightingale, in his famous recording, The Strangest Secret, he offered something much deeper, more liberating, I think.
What was his take?
He defined success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
Okay, progressive realization and worthy ideal. Let's unpack that a bit.
Well, progressive realization means it's a journey, right? Not a fixed point you arrive at. It's continuous movement forward.
Okay, and worthy ideal.
That's the key. It's a goal, a vision that you decide is valuable, something you deem meaningful. It's not just about getting rich, though he does talk about that.
He does, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He contrasts the common dream of success with a pretty stark reality. He gives this statistic. Takes 100 men starting out at age 25. By age 65, what do you think happens?
Uh-oh. I sense bad news for most of them.
You sense right. Only 1 gets rich, 4 are financially independent, 5 are still working, and get this, 54 are broke.
54. Wow, that's sobering. Over half.
It's chilling, and Nightingale says the reason isn't lack of talent or effort, it's the lack of predetermined goals.
They didn't know where they were going.
Exactly, like setting sail without a destination. You just drift. You end up wherever the currents take you, not where you intended to go.
So without that compass, that worthy ideal, you're just reacting.
Pretty much. You get pushed around by circumstances, expectations, whatever job comes along, instead of steering your own ship. It's about being proactive, not reactive, defining your own North Star.
Which ties right into Tony Robbins, doesn't it?
Yeah.
His ultimate success formula, the very first step.
Yep, step 1, know your outcome, define clear goals. It's almost the same idea. You can't just vaguely want good things. You need clarity,
Right.
specificity. What does that outcome look like, feel like?
The clarity is the foundation.
Absolutely vital. Because, as Nightingale also points out, our own minds are this incredible, untapped resource. He calls the human mind the last great unexplored continent on the earth.
Wow, unexplored continent, I like that.
And he says it contains riches beyond our wildest dreams. But here's the catch. Most of us only use about 10% of our abilities.
Only 10%. Why so little?
Well, Nightingale has a fascinating theory. He says it's because the mind is free.
Free. How does that?
Yeah. Think about it. Things we get for nothing, we often don't value much. Our potential, our ability to think and dream, it's inherent, it costs nothing, so we take it for granted. We don't consciously cultivate it.
Huh. That's profound, actually. The most valuable thing we have. And we undervalue it because it didn't cost us anything up front.
It's a paradox, isn't it? So Nightingale throws down the gauntlet. He says, decide now, what is it you want? Plant your goal in your mind.
Plant the goal. Treat it like something real, something to nurture.
Yes. He implies it's one of the most critical decisions you'll make. Choose to use that incredible power you have. Be the creator, not just the creature of circumstance.
Okay, so deciding what you want is huge. But then there's the internal landscape, right? Our beliefs. Tony Robbins really dives into this.
He does. He talks about belief systems. His core idea is that what we link pain to and pleasure to shapes every aspect of our lives. Our beliefs are like the blueprints for our reality.
They dictate how we act, what we see, the results we get.
Exactly. Empowering beliefs. They drive you forward. Limiting beliefs, they're like invisible walls holding you back.
Can you give an example?
Sure. If you genuinely believe you can learn a new skill, you'll put in the effort, right? You'll persist. But if you believe, say, I'm just not a math person, you'll avoid anything complex with numbers, and guess what? You won't get better at math. That belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And Les Brown's story is such a powerful illustration of this, isn't it? Being labeled.
Oh, absolutely. Labeled mentally retarded in school. Imagine carrying that. A devastating, limiting belief imposed from the outside.
Until that teacher, Mr. Washington.
Yes. Mr. Washington saw something more. He told Les, open your mouth and you tell the world who you are. Just that one sentence, that one person believing in him, it changed everything.
It ignited something, gave him permission to believe in himself.
It totally altered his path. He became this incredible speaker, and his journey led him to outline what he calls the 4 stages of greatness. Self-knowledge, self-approval, self-commitment, and self-fulfillment. And notice where it starts. Self-knowledge. Echoing that ancient wisdom. Know thyself.
You have to understand yourself first. Your values, your drives, your gifts.
Before you can really commit and fulfill your potential, without that grounding, you're just chasing external validation, maybe?
But even if you know yourself and you have a goal, there's still fear, right? Zig Ziglar talks about why so few people actually write their goals down.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Only 3% commit goals to paper. And Ziglar breaks down why.
What are the reasons?
Okay, first, some just haven't been sold on it. They don't buy into the power of writing goals down. Second, maybe they don't know how. It sounds simple. But setting effective goals takes thought.
Okay, what else?
Third, and this is a big one, fear. Fear of not reaching the goal. Fear of embarrassment or failure. That fear can just paralyze you.
Totally. The what if I fail monster.
And fourth, often tied to fear, is a poor self-image. Ziglar says some people just don't think they deserve the good things life has to offer.
Oof. That belief that you're not worthy of success, that's deep.
It's a huge internal barrier. But Ziglar's counter is powerful. He says, essentially, you have to believe it to achieve it. Give them something to live up to, convince them they can, and they will. It's about fostering that belief in yourself and others.
And he has that great line about the journey itself.
Yes. What you get by reaching your goals is not nearly as important as what you become by reaching them.
Right. The transformation, the growth, the person you become along the way, that's the real prize.
Exactly. It's not just about the trophy at the end. It's about building resilience, character, capability. That's the lasting value. It shifts the focus inward.
Okay, so we've got the inner compass dialed in. Defining success, understanding beliefs, facing down fears. We've planted that worthy ideal. Now, how do we make it real? How do we, actually do something? This is about taking decisive action.
Right. And Tony Robbins' ultimate success formula gives us a roadmap here. We covered step 1, know your outcome, what comes next.
Step 2, take action. Seems obvious, maybe.
Obvious, but critical. So many people get stuck in planning mode. Analysis paralysis. You just have to start. Do something, even if it's a small step.
Okay, take action. Then what?
Step 3 is sensory acuity, which basically means paying attention, noticing what results you're actually getting from your actions.
So like observing the feedback.
Exactly. Like a scientist watching an experiment. Is this working? Is it getting me closer to my outcome? Are people responding the way I hoped? You have to be perceptive.
And if it's not working?
That leads to step 4, flexibility. Be willing to change your approach. If plan A isn't getting results, try plan B or C or D. Don't just keep banging your head against the same wall.
It's an iterative loop then. Act, observe, adapt, act again.
Precisely. That feedback loop is crucial for making real progress. You can't just set a course and ignore the weather, right? You have to adjust.
That sensory acuity piece.
Mm-hmm.
For someone starting out, say, in a new job, what does that actually look like? Is it just about numbers?
It can be numbers, sure, like sales figures or project milestones. But often, it's much more subtle. It's reading the room, noticing if your communication style is landing well with the team.
Okay. Body language, tone of voice.
All of it. Are people engaged when you speak? Are they asking clarifying questions, or do they look confused? Are your emails getting responses? It's about picking up on all those cues, the explicit and the implicit feedback.
So you can adjust your approach. Be flexible.
That's the goal. Continuous improvement based on real-world feedback.
And this idea of continuous movement, sticking with it. Benjamin Disraeli had a great quote about that.
He did. The secret of success is constancy to purpose.
Constancy to purpose. Not just having a goal, but sticking with it. Persistently.
It implies that relentless drive, that unwavering commitment, even when things get tough or you hit roadblocks.
Then Les Brown talks about the source of that drive, doesn't he? That internal fire.
Yes, he calls it a hunger to use your gifts. That deep desire to contribute, actualize your potential. That's what fuels this special drive and focused consciousness needed for that constancy.
Without that hunger, constancy is just a nice idea.
It's the engine. It pushes you through the inevitable setbacks. It's passion, really. Deep-rooted commitment.
And if you're going to have that kind of commitment, that constancy, Zig Ziglar says you should aim high.
Yeah, he advises setting big goals because, he says, when you aim high, ceilings start to move up.
You expand what you think is possible.
Exactly. Small, comfortable goals don't stretch you. They don't force you to grow or learn new things. Big goals demand more. They demand you become the person capable of achieving them.
Because the challenge itself forces the transformation.
Right. It makes the journey harder, sure, but way more rewarding. Your capabilities grow to meet the challenge. The ceiling isn't fixed. It reflects your ambition.
Okay, so aim high, be constant, take action, stay flexible. But you don't have to do it all in a vacuum, right? Les Brown emphasizes getting help.
Absolutely. He stresses seeking out advisors, mentors, and role models, calling them essential guides on our journey through life.
It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help.
Quite the opposite. It's smart. These are people who've been where you want to go. They've made the mistakes, learned the lessons. Why wouldn't you want their insights?
Makes sense. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to.
He talks about making proactive contact, building real relationships with these guides. They can point out your blind spots, what he calls unconscious incompetence, the stuff you don't even know you don't know.
Having experienced navigators for unfamiliar territory.
That's a great way to put it. Leverage their wisdom. Accelerate your learning curve. Avoid the common pitfalls. It makes the whole process more effective and, honestly, probably more enjoyable, too.
So your inner compass is vital. But external guidance, that wisdom from others, helps you actually navigate the terrain. Okay, we've spent a good chunk of time on the internal work, the goals, the beliefs, the action. But like you said, none of this happens alone. We're social creatures. We live and work with other people. So let's shift focus to the power of connection, navigating the human landscape.
A crucial shift, because your ability to connect, to communicate effectively, to persuade, it underpins almost everything else.
And where better to start than with the ancient art of rhetoric? Persuasion. It sounds a bit old-fashioned, maybe.
It might sound old-fashioned, but the principles are timeless. Think Aristotle, Cicero, Quintilian. For them, rhetoric wasn't just fancy speeches. It was fundamental to being an engaged citizen, a leader. It was about understanding people, logic, emotion, how to shape conversations and move people to act together.
So more than just arguing well.
Much more. Aristotle, in his work Rhetoric, makes this really interesting distinction between what he called particular law and common law.
Okay, what's the difference there?
Particular law is the written stuff, right? The laws specific to a city or state. But common law, that's different. He saw it as stemming from nature, a kind of universal, unwritten sense of justice.
Things we just know are right or wrong, instinctively, even if there's no specific rule.
Exactly. He uses Sophocles' play Antigone as an example. Antigone buries her brother against the king's decree, arguing her act is just by nature, even though it breaks the king's particular law.
So natural justice can sometimes trump man-made law.
That's the implication. There are deeper moral truths. Think about basic human decency, trust, fairness. We feel those things are right, often regardless of legal codes. That's tapping into that common one.
Really interesting. And Aristotle also talked about how the context changes persuasion, right? Like
Yeah.
speaking in an assembly versus a courtroom.
Yes, a key insight. In a public assembly where people are deciding on something that affects them directly, like a new tax logical arguments demonstrating the benefits, that might be enough. They're invested.
Okay. But in a law court,
They're judging someone else's situation. Their interests aren't directly on the line in the same way. So Aristotle noted that's where appeals to emotion, character, even biases, what he called speaking of extraneous matters, become more common and potentially more effective, for better or worse.
because you have to actively win them over emotionally, not just logically.
Right. It shows the psychological depth of rhetoric. It uses logical tools, sure, like enthymemes and examples.
Quick reminder, what's an enthymeme again?
Good question. An enthymeme is basically a shortened argument where one premise is left unstated because the speaker assumes the audience already accepts it.
Like a logical shortcut.
Kind of. If I say we need to protect the environment for future generations, the unstated premise is we have a moral obligation to protect future generations. Most people agree with that, so I don't need to spell it out. It builds agreement subtly.
Got it. So Aristotle covered logic and emotion. What about Cicero?
Cicero, in De Orator, really emphasized the emotional intelligence aspect. Effective oratory requires understanding all the mental emotions with which nature has endowed the human race. You have to get what makes people tick emotionally.
Empathy, basically. Understanding your audience's feelings.
Absolutely. And Quintilian, another Roman thinker, took it further in Institutio Oratoria. He defined rhetoric as the science of speaking well. But crucially, he said the ideal orator must be a good man, skilled in speaking.
The moral dimension, good and skilled.
Yes. He insisted that eloquence shouldn't be used for evil. It shouldn't lend arms to crime, because the power to persuade is so strong, it comes with a heavy ethical responsibility. Use it for good, for truth, for justice.
Okay, so the ancients give us this foundation. Logic, emotion, ethics. How does that translate into actually building connections day to day? Dale Carnegie comes to mind.
Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People is a classic for a reason. He zeroed in on something the psychologist William James identified as the deepest principle in human nature. Any guesses?
The desire to be liked, to be right.
Close. It's the craving to be appreciated.
Appreciation. Okay, that feels fundamental.
Carnegie argued it's not just a want, it's a deep need. Like food or sleep, but for our psyche. Understanding this craving is the master key to connecting with people.
We all want to feel valued, seen, important. Makes sense.
And Carnegie filled his book with stories showing how powerful simple acts are. Giving someone your undivided attention, really listening, not just waiting to talk. Offering genuine compliments, sincere appreciation, not slimy flattery.
It's about making the other person feel important, shifting the focus off yourself.
Exactly. He stressed talking in terms of the other person's interests. Instead of, here's what I want, ask, how can I make this person want to do it? Frame it around their needs, their desires.
So it's not manipulation, it's alignment. Finding the win-win.
That's the idea. You're helping them get something they want, which makes them receptive to helping you. It becomes cooperative, not adversarial. Genuine influence, not just pushing your agenda.
That approach changes everything. Job interviews, team projects, even just talking to colleagues.
And Brené Brown adds another layer from neuroscience. She reminds us, connection. That's how we're wired. It's why we're here. It's literally built into our biology.
A fundamental human drive.
Absolutely. But she also points out something interesting. Our tendency to focus on the negative. You know, you get 10 positive comments on a review and 1 opportunity for growth, and which one do you obsess over?
Guilty as charged. The negative always seems louder.
Right. So Brown says, because of that negativity bias, we have to be really intentional about creating positive connections. We have to actively practice appreciation and affirmation, like Carnegie suggested, to counteract that default focus on flaws or problems.
Consciously build those bridges. Okay. So we need appreciation, connection. But how do you scale that? How do you inspire not just one person, but a whole group, a team, a company, a movement? Simon Sinek's work seems relevant here.
Hugely relevant. Sinek's Golden Circle, the why, how, what model, is incredibly powerful for understanding leadership and inspiration. His main point, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
The why, the purpose, the belief behind it all.
Exactly. It's not about the features of your product or the specifics of your service primarily. It's about the underlying cause, the mission, the belief system you represent.
Apple is his go-to example.
It's a perfect example. Apple doesn't just sell computers. Their why is think different, challenge the status quo, empower individuality and creativity.
And people buy into that idea, not just the hardware.
Precisely. The products become symbols of that shared belief. That's why they have such loyal followers. People connect with the why on an emotional identity level.
And he contrasts that with Walmart's story.
Yeah, he points out Walmart's original why was powerful. Service to small communities, employees, customers, providing value. That drove their initial success. But then, he suggests, maybe that why got fuzzy. Maybe the focus shifted solely to the what low prices market share. When the core purpose gets lost, often the passion, the innovation, the deep loyalty starts to fade. It becomes transactional, not inspirational.
Which loops back beautifully to Quintilian, the Roman orator guy.
How so?
Quintilian said the order should dwell on those points by which he himself would be most moved.
Yes. That implies that your own genuine conviction or your personal connection to your why is your most powerful persuasive tool. When you deeply believe in your purpose, it shines through. It resonates.
It's authentic. It's not just reciting talking points. It's sharing a core belief. That's what truly moves people.
Exactly. It's the difference between presenting information and genuinely inspiring action. That why makes all the difference.
Okay, we've covered the inner journey, finding your purpose, taking action. We've talked about connecting with others, persuasion, appreciation, finding the why. Now let's zoom out. The big picture. The world is waiting. Embracing a larger social duty.
This is where it gets really profound, moving beyond individual success or even effective teamwork to our role in the wider world.
And several commencement speakers we looked at hit this theme hard. They're essentially calling for a new operating system for how we live together, a shift in focus.
It's a powerful theme. Kurt Vonnegut, for example. In his unique, funny but serious way, he gave just one rule. God damn it, you've got to be kind.
Simple, but not easy.
Not at all. And he advised graduates, enjoy your youth. Do some skylarking, he called it.
Skylarking. Love it.
But then, once you have some power, some influence, use it. Use it to help the old and the sick and the shy and the poor and people nobody likes.
A direct call to compassion and responsibility for the vulnerable.
And he also made that sharp observation about loneliness, saying the nuclear family doesn't provide nearly enough companionship. It hints at a need for broader community, for looking out for each other beyond just our immediate family.
Building bigger circles of care.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Tony Kushner takes this call to action and makes it, political.
Very explicitly. In his commencement speech, he poses the question, what am I doing here? And answers it bluntly. One of the answers ought to be, I am here to organize. I am here to be political.
No beating around the bush there.
Yeah.
He's telling graduates to get involved actively.
Yes. Engage in the political process, organize for change. And he's realistic about it, too. He acknowledges the struggles are persistent.
He listed things like fear, poverty, demands for equality, saying none of these struggles will ever just disappear on their own.
Right. He said neither terror nor drugs nor poverty nor any of these demands for change and freedom will ever cease.
It's not a call to easy optimism, but to committed, ongoing engagement in the hard work of making things better. It's a long game.
A marathon, not a sprint, as they say, which makes the need for involvement even more critical. And speaking of urgency, Paul Hawken's speech to the class of 2009, wow.
Yeah, that one was intense. Delivered right in the thick of environmental and economic anxieties. He laid it out starkly.
What was his core message? He told the graduates, essentially, that their generation's task is immense. You are going to have to figure out what it means to be a human being on Earth at a time when every living system is declining and the rate of decline is accelerating.
No pressure, then.
Seriously. He called it a mind-boggling situation demanding immediate collective rethinking of, everything. Our whole relationship with the planet.
And his conclusion, that metaphor he used.
Unforgettable. Basically, civilization needs a new operating system. You are the programmers, and we need it within a few decades.
Civilization needs a new OS, and you're the programmers. Talk about a call to action. It's both terrifying and incredibly empowering.
It reframes their role completely, not just inheriting a system, but fundamentally rewriting it. And Ursula K. Le Guin, she also challenges the existing system, doesn't she, from a different angle?
Yes, in her left-handed commencement address. She pushes back against conformity, against what she calls man's language, and the dominant power structures.
She warns graduates against selling out, against just fitting in. She says, "You've come a long way, baby, but no way is long enough. You can't even get there by selling yourself out, because there is theirs, not yours."
Meaning, don't lose yourself trying to fit into a system that might be flawed or doesn't truly belong to you.
Exactly. Hold on to your authentic self, your own values, your own voice. Don't just accept business as usual, especially if, as the intro to the collection noted, that usual way has completely failed us.
Maintain your integrity, your ethical core, even when pressured to conform.
Le Guin is urging them to recognize and maybe dismantle the biases, the limitations baked into the current structures, to contribute something genuine, not just assimilate. All these speakers in different ways are pushing graduates towards active, conscious, and often quite radical engagement with the world's problems.
Okay, so we're being called to be programmers of a new operating system, to organize, to be kind, to challenge the status quo. But what should this new system, this larger social duty, actually look like? What are the guiding stars? This takes us towards justice, vision, and the greater good.
And when you talk about vision, especially for a more just and equal society, Martin Luther King Jr.'s voice is almost impossible to ignore.
His I Have a Dream speech, not technically a commencement, but its themes are so relevant here.
Absolutely. He articulated this powerful vision for the nation to finally live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. It's a call for America to fulfill its own stated promise.
A promise of fundamental justice, deeply embedded.
And the imagery he used, it's unforgettable. That picture of the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners sitting down together at the table of brotherhood.
It's a vision of healing, reconciliation, shared humanity. It makes a different future feel possible, tangible.
It's incredibly aspirational, and that kind of vision, that drive for a greater good, brings us back to some complex ethical questions, like the ones Quintilian wrestled with, the orator's duty.
Like Quintilian, the good man skilled in speaking. He had that tricky idea that sometimes a good person might need to tell a lie. That sounds wrong.
It sounds contradictory on the surface, yeah. How can a good man lie? But Quintilian was very specific about the context. He wasn't justifying lies for personal gain.
So what was he talking about?
He gave examples like diverting an assassin from his victim or deceiving an enemy to save our country. Situations where a lie prevents a much greater harm, protects innocent life, saves the nation.
Okay, extreme circumstances where the lie serves a clear, higher moral purpose.
Yeah.
The lesser of two evils.
Exactly. But he even went further, proposing something really nuanced for his time. He suggested it might sometimes be in the public interest, the interests of the Commonwealth, for guilty people to be acquitted.
Acquitted, even if guilty.
If, and this is the crucial part, if it be possible thereby to convert them to a better state of mind.
Wow. So focusing on rehabilitation and the potential for change over strict punishment if it serves the greater good.
It suggests a focus on outcomes, on potential redemption, on what's ultimately best for the community, rather than just rigid adherence to roles. It's quite a sophisticated ethical stance.
It requires incredible judgment, though. Wisdom.
Precisely. And Quintilian stressed that this kind of wisdom isn't just theoretical. He defined the truly wise man, in the Roman sense, as a statesman revealed in the actual practice and experience of life, not just in classroom debates.
So real-world ethical decision-making is messy, complex, requires practical wisdom, and a deep commitment to the best outcome, even if it means bending rules occasionally for a truly noble reason.
It's about weighing intentions and consequences with immense care, always aiming for the common good. Not a license for casual dishonesty, but an acknowledgement of complex realities.
Embracing this larger social duty, striving for justice, acting wisely for the greater good. Sounds huge, maybe overwhelming. But it has to start somewhere, right? Maybe in how we interact every single day.
I think that's exactly right. It comes down to cultivating empathy, connecting to our shared humanity, even in the small, mundane moments. And David Foster Wallace's commencement speech, "This is Water," speaks so powerfully to this.
Oh, that speech is incredible. His main point is about choice, isn't it? The choice we have in how we interpret the annoying stuff that happens all the time.
Exactly. He uses that classic example. You get cut off in traffic by some big SUV, a Hummer maybe. The default reaction is anger, judgment, what a jerk.
Totally. Road rage rising.
But Wallace suggests consciously choosing a different interpretation. What if that driver isn't just rude? What if there's a sick or injured child in the car and they're rushing to the ER? Suddenly, Wallace says, it is actually I who am in his way.
That flips the script completely.
Yeah.
From anger to potential empathy, or at least less judgment.
It's a radical shift in perspective. And he says we could apply this choice everywhere, standing in that long, slow checkout line at the grocery store.
The worst.
Instead of just fuming impatiently, Wallace challenges us to consider that everyone else in the supermarket's checkout line is just as bored and frustrated as I am, and that some of these people probably have much harder, more tedious, or painful lives than I do overall.
It's about recognizing the shared experience, the shared humanity, even in frustration, choosing empathy over irritation.
It's the this is water idea. The most obvious, important realities are often the hardest to see and talk about, like the fact that we choose how to construct meaning from experience. It's hard work, he admits, requiring constant awareness and effort day in, day out, but it's the key to escaping our default setting of self-centeredness.
And that connects back, in a way, to Sinek's idea about the why of service.
I think so. Remember Walmart's original vision? Service was a higher cause.
Right. It wasn't just about selling stuff cheap. It was about contributing to the community.
Sinek argues that deep satisfaction, real passion, comes from that feeling of being part of something bigger than yourself, contributing to a higher cause, whether it's community service, scientific discovery, creating art, or just doing your job with integrity and a focus on helping others. That provides a sense of meaning that purely self-interested pursuits often lack.
It taps into that need for purpose, for connection beyond just ourselves.
Exactly. And Les Brown brings it all together with some really practical, down-to-earth advice. If you're feeling stuck or sorry for yourself,
What does he say to do?
help somebody else. Simple as that.
Help somebody else.
He says, if you are spending a lot of energy feeling sorry for yourself, find someone you can help and forget about yourself for a while. What you give is what you get.
It sounds almost counterintuitive, but it makes sense. Focusing outward can actually help you feel better inwardly.
It's a profound psychological truth. Helping others gives us perspective, reduces our own sense of burden, connects us, and reinforces that cycle of giving and receiving. Your contribution to the world comes back to enrich your own life. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to help ourselves is to focus on helping someone else.
Wow. We have covered a lot of ground today. Quite the deep dive.
We really have, from the inside out, you can say.
Yeah, starting with that inner compass, defining success on your own terms, understanding your beliefs, taking action, then moving outward to connecting with others, persuasion, empathy, finding the why. And finally, zooming out to that big picture, embracing a larger social duty.
We heard from ancient philosophers on ethics and rhetoric, modern motivators on goals and mindset, and these incredibly insightful commencement speakers calling for kindness, action, and systemic change. It's a rich tapestry of wisdom.
It shows that graduation, or really any big life transition, it isn't just an ending. It's a starting point, a powerful one. It's a call to live consciously, to contribute meaningfully.
A summons to use what you've learned, who you've become, to engage with the world in a significant way.
So as you, our listener, step forward into this world that genuinely is waiting for you, waiting for your energy, your ideas, your unique contribution. Here's a final thought to take with you, inspired by Hawken and Sinek.
What kind of new operating system will you help program for our shared future? And maybe just as important, what will be the why, the deep, authentic purpose behind your code?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.